So first things first, I'm the realist. Is that Iggy Azalea? When's the last time you heard that song? Anyways, I got this message today, and I get this message quite a bit, and I wanted to talk about it. And so we've got a video. It's like a 3-minute training session that we'll watch, and we'll talk about all this. But Coach, I hope this sounds logical, but how do you actually know how you're improving? I practice the same time over and over again, but some days I'd be missing a lot and other days I'd be making everything. So how do I know if I'm improving? I talked about this a bit, but be process driven, not results driven. Got to set up tangible goals for yourself, weight room, lift more every week, run faster every week, train more perfect reps every week. Just trust the process. What would you consider perfect reps, Coach? So again, I'm like, okay, I feel like I have to describe all of this all the time. So maybe I'll just actually do a video on this. Yeah, three minutes long. We're going to watch this, and then I'm going to explain to you how you guys need to improve, how to make it translate, but do all this stuff like on your own. So this is another video someone sent me, and I was like, this works perfect. Works perfect. So this is 6'10" Caleb Wilson looks insane in an NBA draft workout. So 3 minutes, we'll watch. So kids will see this. Kids see this stuff and they think, ooh, I got to work on all those moves. A pre-draft workout is typically not for the player. It's typically for other people to see where the player is at. So even these trainers, these coaches, these trainers, they put together these programs, they put together these training sessions. So kids will see this stuff online and think, that's what I need to improve. No, this is for NBA players that are they're more so being evaluated more so than being improved upon. And this is Chris Johnson, who does a lot of these types of sessions. So remember, we saw this with Kyrie. We saw this with the Kyrie drill or the Kyrie workout that they were doing the other day. And I told you, this is more of a workout to see what a player can do. I would not be putting a player in these types of workouts over and over and really think that I'm improving this player. This is just a workout. Get some reps up.
Yeah, baby.
Well, probably got to mute that. But you guys see what's happening, right? Spot shooting. This is probably the best thing. Like, this is probably the best thing he's done in this workout so far, just because like you can do this on your own. You're not going to have 3 or 4 rebounders, but also these guys got to be twins. There's no way that they are not twins. But you might get a rebounder, like have a friend or have your parents or someone rebound for you. Or if you can get a shooting machine, you can rep out shots over and over. Right. But basically kids will watch these videos. And now it's like, well, how do I get better by myself? I don't have a Chris Johnson counting down the time. And I don't have someone that's just willing to play defense just on me. But it's like, this is not what Caleb Wilson did to get better either. This is not what he did to improve. This is just a workout for him now that he's going to be a millionaire. He can afford this. There's a lot of money we can waste. When I say wasted, I don't say it's a waste of, he shouldn't have rebounders and someone playing defense on him and a Chris Johnson counting down the clock for him. But you shouldn't be paying, $1,000 to do this type of session. But this session probably does cost about $1,000, $2,000. But it's just, you got the money to spend, fuck it, spend it. It doesn't matter. Most people don't need this. You can get 80% of what he does from this workout by just training yourself. And we'll talk about it. To go back and answer that question. So now players will see those types of workouts, right? And then they'll be like, Coach, so how do I know if I'm improving, what I'm getting better at when I'm working out on your own? None of that workout is what you need or is even reflective of what your types of workouts will look like. But essentially, if you're wanting to improve, the biggest thing is you have to first identify what the problem is. So a couple ways you can do it. If you actually have no coach, you have no feedback from anyone else, you don't have anyone around you, you are going to have to film yourself playing a game, playing in your high school team, playing in your college team, or just playing by yourself outside, you're going to have to film yourself, and then you're going to have to watch that film, and you're going to have to identify either where you're catching the ball most, where you're missing the most shots, where you're turning the ball over. You're going to have to identify a problem. So the very first thing that you need to do if you want to improve, identify the problem. So to identify the problem, you can do that watching the game film and figuring it out, which is going to take longer. It's going to be way more difficult. But once you learn that skill, it's a skill you have for life. Or if you do have a coach, if you do have a trainer, if you do have a parent that can show you those things, if you do have friends that can help you out, if you have someone that can give you feedback, hey, what's my best attribute? What am I bad at? What am I good at? And you can take that advice they give you and then watch the film through that lens. Oh, they said I don't have a good left hand. Go watch game film, watch where you mess up with your left hand. Now that you've identified a problem, you can create attainable goals from those problems. So if it is left hand, you have a weak left hand. If people keep saying that, go watch your game film. If you get a rebound and you always dribble with your strong hand and it gets stolen, you're like, wait, I should get that rebound and go with my left. You can literally just do a drill now where you throw it off the backboard, you catch it, and you go full speed with your left hand dribbling up the court. And once you get good at that, you watch your game film and you go, oh, left-handed layups I suck at. So now I'm going to work on rip through one dribble with the left and then finish with your offhand. It's like it's going to take a little bit longer. But instead of watching all of these YouTube videos about all these shifty handle, how to get shifty quick, how to do double Kyrie Irving, James Harden double step back, instead of watching all those, spend that time watching yourself and watching game film and just trying to identify what you're good at, what you're bad at. Then you obtain attainable goals. But then it doesn't necessarily need to be on the court, right? Because some days, exactly what that comment said, some days, what did it say? I practice time and time over and over again, but some days I be missing a lot and other days I'm making everything. So again, obtainable goals is like, yes, you want to shoot better every day, but you can't fully control that. But some things you can control. You should be getting stronger every week, right? So go to the weight room. If you're lifting more reps or more weight each week, regardless of how many shots you make, you can look at a piece of paper and be like, damn, 3 weeks ago I was lifting 100 pounds. Now I'm lifting 130 pounds. Now I'm lifting 145. Now I'm lifting 160. That's controllable, and you can see you're getting stronger. You can time yourself running stairs, or time yourself running laps, or time yourself running, we call them lines now. You can't call them the other thing. You time yourself doing these things. You go, oh, I'm actually getting faster. So if on paper you're getting stronger, you're getting faster, and now you're doing your drills on the court where you're shooting also, by that time you're probably making 6 out of 10 now, 7 out of 10 now. You're not worried about one day shooting good, one day shooting bad, but you're looking over the course of 3-4 weeks. So all of that and then I said doing perfect reps. So rather than looking at, oh, did I make or miss that shot? It's a perfect rep. Did you go full speed between the legs, one dribble to the basket, get to the backboard, and you missed? It still could be a perfect rep because everything was full speed. You couldn't have done it any better. The only thing you could do better is make it, right? You count the process, not the results. So not just if you made it. We're not worried about if you just made it. We're worried about the results leading up to that. So those are a few things to do. Again, you do that over 3 weeks. Then you just reevaluate, right? So now you watch game film again, and now you look like, oh, my left hand is actually really good. But now whenever I kick the ball out, I'm throwing it over people's heads. All right, so now we lock in on your passing when you get 2 feet in the key, or you're not playing off 2 feet enough, so you can just rep out 2 feet. So anyways, this whole video, I basically wanted to talk about these workouts that you watch. They're not real. These are not real workouts. This is not what players did to get better. But Caleb Wilson is a freak athlete. He just verticaled backwards 2 hands. He's 6'10", freak athlete. He's going to have there's millions and millions of dollars going to be invested into this guy. So he's going to have 15 different trainers looking at all these different things he can improve on. He's going to have his head coach, his 10 assistant coaches. He's going to just have people around him. People on social media trainers are going to reach out to him. He's going to have infinite people to look at his game and go, you should work on your left. You should work on this. He doesn't have to do any of that thinking. Most of you aren't Caleb Wilson. So you're going to have to watch your own game film, figure out what you're good at, figure out what you're bad at, and then you're going to have to apply that. But with that being said, like that's a skill that you need to learn some point in your life anyway. So might as well just learn it younger, and then you'll be fine. So that's that video. That's all I wanted to talk about. What y'all's thoughts on that? It's crazy. Kids have this device in their hands to record themselves, and it's also super common for their team, somebody to record their games. Yeah, and we didn't have that back in the day. I have some of my high school tapes, but it wasn't like just in a phone. It was a video recorder, so I didn't get practices or any one-on-ones outside or anything. Workouts should definitely be relative. I used to work on my post shimmy turn fades at the block, but then I remembered I'm 5'7" and lanky, so then I shifted more towards perimeter scoring. Yeah, for sure. Is it possible for most players to get super athletic? That's why I said most of what you need to grade yourself on. If any of you think you're at this point, and you're missing, I need this guy to rebound, I need this guy to rebound, and I need Chris Johnson to talk me through a rep. If you think you need all of this, I really hope that you've mastered the weight room component of your training. That should be, I'm now firmly believing that most players haven't mastered the weight room, the strength and conditioning aspect of training. Therefore, they want to do this stuff on the court, but you'll never be good at this stuff on the court if you haven't mastered the weight room part of it first. So more often than not, I'm going to say you need to start focusing on the strength and conditioning. Spend the $25 a month to be able to go to the gym. Go do that. Go do that before you need to start looking at online YouTube programs, stuff like that. When do you think a player should transition to be less process driven? Because at that point, you'll have to make your shots consistently. I'm literally always process driven. You were around when I was talking about the Spurs and the Knicks? The Spurs were losing those games, not because they were missing 3-point shots. They were taking stupid 3-point shots, right? The process is almost always going to get you the results. So the Spurs were losing games because, and I called it whenever I was saying, watching Dylan Harper, watching Stephon Castle, watching De'Aaron Fox, like just barely get over the half court line and then make a lot of questionable decisions around the half court line. That's before the offense gets initiated. That's before they get to their shot selection. That's before anything else. Watching them make all of those questionable decisions around the half court line made me realize, like, oh, their process is fried. The process is not good. This process is broken. And then it ended up losing them games, 2 or 3 games they lost just because of that. So I think you're always going to be process driven. You should always be process driven. Now, results driven, like, you can be results driven in specific scenarios and just say, okay, this guy never makes these shots. This guy never makes this. The results never show. Now you can use the results sometimes, but more often than not, I'm a process driven guy. If you're doing the right things, the results will follow. If you're not getting the results, the process is probably broken. Coach, how do you think a player like Ben Simmons stays stagnant with his success to NBA trainers? Well, that process, this right here is a good representation of it. This workout that we just watched, what did you see here that made Caleb Wilson really good? Did you see anything in this workout that's like, dude, Caleb Wilson really needed to work on this stuff. I'm so glad they have him work on this. This is what most trainers and skills trainers do. They just put you through a workout. Most skills trainers don't see players like Ben not having a good jump shot. A lot of trainers, a lot of coaches were like, I don't know what to do. This is a different type of player that we haven't seen a player like this. We don't know what to do. So it's like, oh, you have to be a better 3-point shooter. So let's change your shot. You have to be better at this. And a lot of trainers and a lot of coaches will just try to fix things when I say this a lot. They haven't identified what the problem is. What's your thoughts on Chris Gatlin videos? They're pretty good. They're good workout videos. I would say there's far more efficient ways to train depending on what it is you're trying to improve. But if you're a player that literally if you have literally no access to any coaching, any information, any whatever, Chris Gatlin's probably one of the first places I would send basketball players, because those are like beginner workouts that are going to get your conditioning up. It's going to get you a lot of reps. It's just going to get the ball in your hand. It's one of the most basic entry level type of workouts that every single elite. Caleb Wilson has done Chris Gatlin type workouts. I'm not saying he watches Chris Gatlin. I'm just saying those workouts that Chris Gatlin does, literally every single player that's been successful has started there or done those and they probably still do them. I'd say most pros still do that stuff a couple times a month. Less players do this stuff. Less players do what they're, I mean, it's popular to do now, but this is a very small percentage of what these guys do. This is more evaluation. This is more social networking and evaluation type of workout. Sometimes good results reward a cycle of bad methods, kind of like Rob hitting the one-legged fadeaway three and then a shot selection in the DA game. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate your point of view and perspective. It's refreshing in the space and you help out a lot of players and viewers. I appreciate that. That was the goal. That was the goal. That's why, like, look at the process. So I said this with LP, right? This is what got me in trouble with Lamar Peters fans, the fans, by the way, not LP. LP didn't have a problem, but the fans did. When I was saying he was taking bad shots, because he would hit some and people were like, no, those are good shots if you can make them. And I'm like, yeah, but they're just not efficient. And then when he went on the drought of missing a lot of shots, I was like, yeah, that's what I was saying. You guys were so attached to the results. You weren't attached to the process. Whereas you watch someone like Zay, and Zay's followed the process. And that's why whenever he shoots a three where it's standstill at the top of the key, I'm like, it's a really good shot. His process is shooting those. He never really goes outside of his process, shooting step back, fade away one-legged. Like, you're not going to see Zay do that, because even if he hits one, he knows it's a fluke or it's a bad shot.